Guys, welcome back to QPM Marathon. And today is day 3 where we will be covering substantive procedure. Okay. So before we start with the substantive procedure, let's do a quick revision about last 2 lectures that we did. So first of all, everybody please mute yourself because it becomes extremely difficult for me to actually mute you all again and again. Okay. Guys, please mute yourself. Okay, now let's do a quick revision. What we did in the risk, we covered all types of risk, we did question, and in internal control, yesterday I taught you about the meaning of internal controls and test of control, and we see the working of whole organization along with the last system. Which system did we cover yesterday? Anybody who remembers? In detail, we covered it along with the question. Which was it? The payroll system, definitely. So the payroll system, we did it in detail and the rest, we covered it brief. Now, let's come to the core of substantive procedure. First of all, when it comes to the substantive procedure, this is very important area, be it your AA, be it your AAA. Okay, it has literally the maximum weightage when it comes to AAA. And when it comes to AA, it plays a huge role in section A and in section B. So before I actually, tell you that what all questions can be framed, we always cover the crux of the chapter, right? As to how the questions can be asked in this particular topic, okay? Now, if I talk about the substantive procedure, first of all, can be MCQs, right? MCQs will be, like, say, direct. For example, it tells you that for the valuation, tell which procedure is correct, right? So I hope everybody must have seen that. Everybody must have attempted the MCQ in section A, where you have seen the valuation or the any assertion being stated, and then you are given 4 procedure where you need to select as to which one is correct for that particular assertion. So this is one of the category that actually comes in this particular topic. Now the second would be direct questions. Ma'am, direct questions, does it cover the theory? No. By direct questions, what I mean, question simply tells you list substantive procedure to confirm the bank balances of this particular company. So it is telling you which account or which balance needs to be, you have to write the substantive procedure for. सबने देखा होगा, आई बिलीव सबने ये क्वेश्चन सॉल्व किया होगा जहां पे लिटरली डायरेक्ट दिया हुआ है कि हमें बैंक बैलेंस पे देना है, रेवेन्यू पे देना है, टीआर पे देना है, टीपी पे देना है. सो वी आर गिवन डायरेक्टली एज टू which balances needs to be considered while writing the substantive procedure, right? Then the third category comes the assertion specific. What do I mean by assertion specific, ma'am? By assertion specific, I mean the question clearly states that you need to write procedure for the existence of PP, okay? So question ने clearly बोला कि मुझे क्या चेक करना है, existence चेक करना है, ना ही मुझे valuation चेक करना है, ना ही मुझे कुछ और उसका क्लासिफिकेशन, प्रेजेंटेशन सब कुछ डिस्कस करना है. मुझे सिर्फ क्या करना है, एग्जिस्टेंस के ऊपर प्रोसीजर्स लिखने हैं. सो आई नीड टू राइट प्रोसीजर्स स्पेसिफिकली टू द असर्शन टू दैट पर्टिकुलर थिंग. Okay, understood? I hope everybody must have seen this kind of question in the exam kit or while solving the exam, past papers. Okay. Now, the fourth category that comes in is the scenario specific. Like, for example, what will happen? The whole question will be given, audit risk likho, sab kuch likho, theek hai? Audit risk, internal controls, done. Now, the D part. D part will have a small para, and then the next question will be, write substantive procedure as per the details mentioned above. Okay? So you have to write substantive procedure only for that part, right? This is a new kind of question that, ACCA comes up because sometimes what happens in the risk questions, they cannot directly ask you the substantive procedure. So they may give you one additional para and then they may tell you to write substantive procedure for that. So the question reading plays a huge role. Okay. Now, this I will be covering in detail, but since it's a marathon, can somebody tell me how many types of substantive procedures are there? Like, there are two types. What are those two types? Guys, you should know this because since it's the last week of your, paper, so I'm assuming you should know this. Right. So the test of detail and analytical procedures. Very good. So what happens nowadays? Literally, I have seen, I guess, in the if I'm not wrong, December 23 examiner report, where the question clearly mentioned substantive analytical procedure. So, will I get marks if I mention test of details? Of course not. Okay. So, there plays a major role that we need to read the question very carefully, whether it is asking test of details, whether it is asking substantive analytical procedure, or whether it is asking just simple substantive procedure. Guys, did you understand how can a question appear in your paper, and you should be ready for each and every category that could appear? Anything else that I may have missed out? And मैम, हमने ना ये भी देखा था, आपने ये कवर नहीं किया है। कुछ ऐसा मतलब जो मैं भूल गई हूँ, because see I have analyzed papers and maybe मैं कुछ भूल सकती हूँ। ठीक है, क्या भूली हूँ मैं? यस यस तो बोल रहे हो तुम। ठीक है। Anything, guys, when you feel ki ma'am, you must have, not seen this particular part, but I have seen, so you can definitely cover that. Okay. Now, when it comes to the notes, today's notes is very simple. They are just a one page, so you don't have to worry too much about notes today. So the first part that I've covered is note, is the main objective of the lecture. We will be doing audit assertion soon. How questions will appear in the exam. We have covered all this particular thing. And we will be starting examiner's report today along with the question and along with how to improve the answer. Now, usually asked scenarios, what are they? So if you have seen, substantive procedures questions, usually they are on your TI, TP, revenue, tax, and sales. है ना? Sub inventory is major thing. Non-current assets हो गया, आपका directors remuneration हो गया. So these are the few categories. Though it is not very, exhaustive list, it can come for another part as well. Let's say जैसे हमारा internal control में था कि 6 system थे, but और भी आ सकते हैं. वैसे ही substantive procedure में there are many topics that can actually come up. अब क्या होता है, जैसे मैं लाइव क्लास लेती हूँ तो आई कवर दिस टॉपिक इन 10 to 11 days और मे बी 15 days, बिकॉज एक सिस्टम के साथ मुझे एक क्वेश्चन करवाना पड़ता है, बट ड्यू टू टाइम लिमिटेशन ये यहाँ पे तो बिल्कुल पॉसिबल नहीं हो पाएगा. ठीक है, तो मैं थोड़ी सी अप्रोच बताती हूँ. टेल मी कि तुम्हारी अप्रोच क्या है. Okay, just let me know what is your approach while you do it. So these are the students' approach. What they will do, they will pick up one, let's say they will pick up inventory. They will see what are the assertions and they will learn the substantive procedure. This is not a correct approach. Do not learn. Second, what they will do, ma'am, we have open study text. We are just keep on reading. Guys, please, reading won't help too much in substantive procedure. Yes, it will help, but you need to see the questions. You need to apply that knowledge. Okay. So in the last 10 days, what you can do maximum number of questions, absorb as to how they are solving, absorb as to how they are relating it to the case. Guys, everybody mute yourself, please. I can't, just keep on muting you. Okay. Where was I? See, I just, break the flow once you guys disturb me. Okay. Now, today's objective, we will be doing audit assertion. Let's understand the meaning first. So, I have shared one hint in today's stories as to which company I will be taking today. Anyone who actually saw the story that I shared in the paper, in my WhatsApp group? Right. So Tata company. Okay, let's understand this in a very, easy manner. What do you mean by assertion? Okay, I am sure many of you will have a clear idea, ma'am. Okay, but literal meaning. I always believe in practical thing. I always believe in literal thing. What do you actually mean by assertion? Anybody who is very confident, ma'am, I know the correct meaning. I cannot, I can give you real life example. I can explain you very well. Anybody who is, confident, management promises. कौन से promises? ये क्या चल रहा है? किसके promises कर रहे हैं? There, no, this promises word is wrong. Values. Claim is slightly, claims, right? Claim is the correct word, but values, promises, see, this is how if you, just learn the answer, this is what happens. You don't understand the real meaning of that particular topic. Are you ready to understand it with the values in the FS? Wow, what about the disclosures? And what if they don't have any values? What will... Okay. Are you ready to understand it with a very practical and easy example? Now that you have attended 2-day session, you are, understanding my approach, okay? That I like to make things in a very easy manner and very simple, okay? Now, let's understand this, okay? Now, if I first of all, let's open the dictionary meaning of the assertion. I'll show you the dictionary meaning. When I searched on Google that what is assertion, assertion word says that a statement that say you strongly believe that something is true. Okay, so this is the dictionary meaning of assertion. ठीक है मैम, समझ में नहीं आया, ठीक है, ढंग से समझाओ. Now, Tata Motor. Tata Motors is very famous in India. I don't know what about other countries. Is it that famous in other countries or not? But in India, it's very famous. So Tata Motors ने बहुत सारी new cars निकाली है. What are they? What are the new cars launched by Tata Motors recently? Punch, Nexon, EV. ठीक है. So बहुत सारी गाड़ीज निकाली है टाटा मोटर्स ने रिसेंटली. एंड इसका जो वो है, क्या बोलते हैं उसे, शेयर प्राइस, वो एकदम मैम शूट अप करा है. ठीक है, तो मेरी फ्रेंड ने ना मुझे सजेस्ट किया दैट डूड बाय दिस शेयर्स, यू विल बी करोड़पति इन 1 ईयर. सो आई bought these shares. ठीक है, now that I have bought these shares, I have become dash of the company. I have become the dash of the company. Guys, what I have become? Shareholder. Right. I have become shareholder of the company. Right. Now, shareholders are interested in profits, dividend. Right. So I am interested, मेरा पैसा कब डबल होगा, मैं कब करोड़पति बनने वाली हूँ. ठीक है, मुझे सिर्फ इसमें इंटरेस्ट है. आई एम ओनली इंटरेस्टेड इन व्हेन आई एम गोइंग टू बी अ करोड़पति मिलियनेयर एंड when I will get my money back. Okay, when will my money double? Now what happens? I invest, let's say I am very rich, $1 lakh in that company. Okay, now is it possible for the company to actually, what if, actually company calls me in the year end, okay, hello Ruchi ma'am, the profit of this company is 50,000 and we will give you 10% of dividend and bas theek hai, and next year we are projecting this. Okay, can this be possible in real life that you are calling each and every shareholder, hello year end आपका पैसा, this is the loss, this is the profit, okay bye. This cannot happen, right? The next question that I will be, dude, what did you do of my money? What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What, this is such a complex picture, like where is my money? Did you eat up? How this profit came up? What were the sales? What was the revenue? This is not possible, ma'am. You are talking useless. Okay, so this approach is not possible. What management will do? Management will send me annual report. Anybody who has, invested in the company and they receive annual report on their Gmails. So if you have ever opened that mail, did efforts to open that mail, it consists of financial statement and other information as well, right? So financial statements consist of your balance sheet, your P&L, your statement of changes in equity, your disclosures and everything. We know the components, ma'am. So as a shareholder, now I can see this is the revenue, this is the liability, this is the asset, right? So this is the proper way I can scroll what company did, what company bought, what company sold, what are their liabilities. So these are the management assertion. Management is asserting कि भाई these are true and correct facts, right? अगर I am saying कि मैंने इस साल रेवेन्यू 1 लाख रुपीस कमाया है, तो वो जो वहां पे तुम्हें रेवेन्यू के आगे 1 लाख दिख रहा है ना, वो कमाया है, ठीक है? सो दिस इज एफएस के थ्रू मैनेजमेंट मुझे वो चीजें बता रही है. मैनेजमेंट इज टेलिंग मी दोस थिंग दैट दिस इज डन इन दैट पर्टिकुलर ईयर. Everybody understood? So management is asserting us that yes, this is the revenue, this is PPE, this is liability, right? So asset side पे अगर मेरे मुझे land दिख रही है, PP दिख रही है, so there these are the assertion that yes, management is telling me that yes, we hold this asset. So this is more transparent to me, right? Instead of just calling me in midnight, ma'am, this is the profit, right? So these are the assertions, these are the मैनेजमेंट असर्शन जो मैनेजमेंट हमें बोल रही है ऐसा कि हाँ भाई ठीक है, ये लाइबिलिटीज है, ये एसेट है, ये रेवेन्यू है, ये प्रॉफिट है, ये लॉस है, ठीक है? सबको समझ में आया? एनीथिंग दैट यू डिड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड? So these are nothing but the true and correct facts that they are stating about their themselves. Ki, dude, this is the P&L, this is the balance sheet, so this is the proper way that management has presented to me, right? Now, if you actually see my notes, I'll show you what the assertion definition I have written. Assertions are explicit and implicit claims, okay, made by the management regarding account balance. What is it? Balance sheet, transactions, which is nothing but the P&L and disclosures also into by the company. Now, everybody got the meaning of assertion? Like why the assertion, topic actually came into existence. Like this was actually not possible, right? The calling that, ma'am, this is the profit, ma'am, this is the loss. Okay? Now, ma'am, you used two words in your definition. That is explicit and implicit. I hope everybody knows the meaning, but I'll still explain it. I just love to give examples. So explicit, everybody went to the restaurant. Anybody who has never been to a cafe or restaurant or, any fancy place or any normal place, सब restaurant गए हैं खाना खाने बाहर family के साथ अकेले गए हो? Yes, no, yes, no. Only 3 people have gone. Rest are in Himalayas. Himalayas में भी होते होंगे यार. ठीक है. So everybody have gone to restaurants to eat the food. Guys, please video तो off कर लो यार. Okay, so everybody has gone to the restaurants, right? And they give you the menu, right? They give you the menu. Everybody knows what is menu. So we have dal makhni for 500. This dal is for 600. So this is the explicit. This is, they are telling us loudly. They have presented everything and they are telling us loudly that ये खाना तो इतना पे करना पड़ेगा. Similarly, explicit is like बोल कर बताना. I am telling you loudly. I am telling each and everything. I am stating each and everything, right? So just like a menu in the restaurant, we have financial statements in the company where everything is stated for us that this is the liability, this is the asset, this is the revenue, this is how revenue is earned, cost of sales. ठीक है? So ये हो गया आपका explicitly, जहां पे मैंने सब कुछ आपको डिटेल में बताया. Everything is being told to you in detail. Got the meaning of explicit? Yes, no, yes, no, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Now, everybody been to supermart? Everybody went for a shopping of grocery or maybe, fruits or maybe Has anybody seen a board outside that to buy the items, you need to pay? These are not free. Has anybody seen a board like this? Because I have never seen. Every shop has a board outside them that to buy these items inside the supermarket, you need to pay, right? So obviously, yeah, it's obvious, right? So anything that is obvious, that is not being told, it is implicit, it is implied that you know, right? So ऐसे कोई बोर्ड नहीं देखे मैम हमने. अब पागल हो गए हो आप. ऐसे बोर्ड होने लग गए तो फिर सब कुछ लिखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? So this is something implied. Now when I'm talking about company's perspective, this what is implied? Agar company is mentioning that I have land of 5 lakh, so this is implied that company has it. Company has rights over it, right? Company owns this. किसी और कंपनी की लैंड मेरी बैलेंस शीट में नहीं चिपकाई है, right? So this is something, this is implied, this is implicit. Okay, everybody got the meaning of explicit and implicit? समझ में आया? assertions का मतलब ना, इतनी एनर्जी ना मतलब assertion के मीनिंग में ही लग गई है. ठीक है, अब सुनो. अब फाइनली आज assertion समझा. वेरी गुड प्रणव, समझ तो लिया पेपर से पहले. Okay, now this was whole the meaning of assertion. Now comes the role of auditor. मैम ऑडिटर क्या करेगा? What will auditor do? आपने बोला आप शेयर होल्डर हो, you are the shareholder, the company, the management is giving you the financial statements. तो ठीक है ना, आप हो, मैनेजमेंट है, तो ऑडिटर कहाँ से आया बीच में? ऑडिटर की क्या जरूरत है? करो आप दोनों, खेलो अपना मनी मनी. ठीक है? ऐसे नहीं होता है. ठीक है? So what is the importance of auditor now? Understand that. The investor, I have just taken an example of investor. Now, there could be any lender as well, right? Or the other shareholders or the other stakeholders. They will take the decision on the basis of financial statements, right? Whether I need to invest in the company, whether I need to lend to the company. Now, the company has that financial statements, right? Those are the management assertions. What auditor will do? Auditor will evaluate these assertions. Okay, they will test these assertions, right? Because there's a possibility that these assertions could be misleading, right? And how can it be misleading, ma'am? What if there is any material misstatement due to fraud or error? ठीक है? तो अगर मैं हिंदी में बोलूं, सिंपली जो मैनेजमेंट ने क्लेम्स करे वो गलत भी हो सकते हैं, चाहे वो गलती से हो या चाहे वो फ्रॉड से हो. मैं उन पे कैसे ट्रस्ट करूं? तो थर्ड पार्टी आती है ऑडिटर. ऑडिटर बोलते हैं मैं करता हूं, आप रुको, मैं करता हूं, मेरे थ्रू एक फिल्टर के थ्रू जाएगा ये, एंड देन यू कैन ट्रस्ट इट. ओके, सो ऑडिटर का क्या काम हो गया? ऑडिटर विल इवैल्यूएट दोस assertions. Everybody got the meaning, everybody got the role of the auditor, that why auditor has actually come into the picture, and how can shareholder and management cannot play money game नहीं खेलना उन्हें. ठीक है? Okay, now ma'am, how will he do it? मतलब कैसे करेगा? कैसे करेगा बताओ? How will auditor test these assertions? Guys, topic का नाम है ये. Come on. Documents. No. इतनी बड़ी हिंट दे दिया है मैंने. आई हैव गिवन सच अ बिग हिंट. टॉपिक का नाम है ये substantive procedures. Yeah. So substantive procedures will be performed by the auditor to detect material misstatement at assertion level. He will test these assertions. Okay. Now did you get it? Why the whole substantive procedure idea came into existence? This was not just a topic, this was just the whole story that needs to be built up before introducing the topic substantive procedure. Okay. Oh, Suruchi. Oh, your name has my name too. Nice. Okay, now let's start with the topic. See, so much efforts have gone to actually introduce the topic in the class. Now, substantive procedure. Substantive procedure, first step, that I need to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence. In first chapter, everybody must have read sufficient and appropriate. Sufficiency comes with the quantity and appropriateness comes with the quality, right? What do I mean by quality of evidence? Will you rely on the photostat or will you rely on the original document? ओरिजिनल डॉक्यूमेंट दैट्स ऑब्वियस, ठीक है. सो यहाँ पे थोड़ा चैप्टर 1 का भी रेलेवेंस आ गया, ठीक है. दैट आई नीड टू ऑब्टेन सफिशिएंट अप्रोप्रिएट एविडेंस इन ऑर्डर टू टेस्ट दीज असर्शंस. मैम असर्शंस क्या होता है? अब कोई पूछे ना तो तुम पूरी कहानी सुना देना, ठीक है. जस्ट blah 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 blah, you are done. Now, why am I testing these assertions? Because this will support my audit opinion, whether the financial statements are true or of fair view. So, true and fair view ka meaning bhi chapter 1. So, do you see the link that I need to obtain certain information from chapter 1 as well? And finally, how all this audit procedures being performed. Got it? Guys, did you understand the meaning of substantive procedure? Now, I guess everybody would be more confident as to what is the meaning and how the whole idea came into the picture. Now, let's take a test. How many of you are present in the class out of 22 students? Present. ये प्रेजेंट सुनते ही तुम ऐसे मी लिखते हो, बाकी टाइम कहाँ जाते हो? ठीक है, बाकी टाइम खाना खा रहे हो. ये जूम यूजर यशवी ये सब कहाँ थे? I don't see any, answers from you guys when I'm actually explaining the concepts. Okay. Now, see, in actually what happens in the class that I explain each and every assertion, which is actually not possible in this particular lecture. Now, let's take a test for you guys and let's see how much you actually know. Cut off is a assertion for P&L or a balance sheet. This is easy question. I am just testing, do you know how to differentiate a P&L assertion and your balance sheet assertion? That is class of transaction and account balance. Anybody who say that it is of SOFP, you guys are right. P&L is the correct answer. Okay. Existence is the assertion of balance sheet or P&L. Balance sheet. Very good. Everybody know the basic logic existence कि वो मेरी एक्चुअली एग्जिस्ट करती भी है या नहीं. अगर कंपनी बोल रही है लैंड है मेरे पास तो एग्जिस्ट करती भी है या नहीं करती है ना. क्लासिफिकेशन बिलोंग्स टू P&L और बैलेंस शीट. Classification belongs to both. Good. So I think we can just move ahead with this area, because anybody who has doubt in assertion can text me. I'll solve the doubt. But as of now, I'll not be able to cover each and every aspect because it's already 7:45. Okay. Now, substantive procedure. Guys, I will explain you this, in certain relevance to the exam. Okay. Not just for the theory perspective. This is the last topic we will be covering for the theory as of now. Now, next section will start after this. Okay. Substantive procedure is of two types. You guys mentioned in beginning, test of detail and analytical procedure. Now, understand this. Everybody knows what is the meaning of, test of details. Everybody know. Yes, no, ध्यान से बोलना है everybody know का, because मैं पूछ लूंगी question और तुम लिख सकते हो slightly मैम, maybe और maybe not. जैसे बोलते हैं ना, आता है लेकिन ऐसे ऐसे आता है. ठीक है, मतलब थोड़ा थोड़ा. मैम ऐसे वर्ज पे खड़े हैं. स्क्रॉल अप फॉर अ मिनट. क्यों भाई, क्या आगे देखना है? कुछ नहीं लिखा मैंने. Yes, but not 100%. ये देखो, very good Faisal. I like honesty. I need to know the tape. Oh, don't worry about the notes. You'll get the notes. Chill. Now, example. I'll explain with the example. You will get 100% after this. Understand this. Okay? Understand very. Okay. Please ध्यान से सुनो अब. Company said that purchases, let's say purchases, ठीक है? This is 5 lakh and this is 6 lakh for X5 and X4 के लिए 5 lakh था. ठीक है? अब एज एन ऑडिटर मैंने क्या बोला, इसका पूरा ब्रेकअप दिखाओ कि मतलब परचेजेस ये 5 लाख कैसे हुआ. हाँ, आई अंडरस्टूड दैट देयर वर 500 परचेज ट्रांजैक्शंस दैट टुक प्लेस टू मेक दिस पर्टिकुलर फिगर. ओके guys, जहां पे नहीं समझ में आए प्लीज स्टॉप मी. ओके, whenever you are not able to understand just stop me. I have chat box open due to that reason only. Now I know this 5 lakh is made of these 500 purchase transactions being done. Will, as an auditor, I will check 100%? Is it possible for me to check 100%? No. Why? Because I am doing auditing on the basis of sampling. Now I have picked 30 samples. Okay. I have picked up the 30 samples out of these 500. Fine. Now I will run to the management. Ma'am, director, suno, management, provide me with the documents. I love documents. So yesterday I told you, what is the favorite work of an auditor? They love documents. Their first love is documents. ठीक है? So हमें चाहिए documents. Ma'am, what documents you need? Invoice हो गया, purchase order हो गया, recipient reports हो गए. मतलब there will be certain documents regarding that purchases. Okay. So as an auditor, what I will do? I will see what is the amount that is being recorded and what supporting documents have to say about it. So I will verify this. Okay. Understood? So this is nothing but test of details, where I'm checking the details, where I'm checking the minute details, where I'm checking the documents. I am doing everything in detail. I am doing everything in broad, not broad कि हाँ ठीक है totals देख लिया. No, I am going into that path. I am selecting samples. I am doing documents. I am doing a lot of efforts to see that this amount is correct, right? Understood? Test of details. So this is the test of details. Now, when it comes to analytical procedure, analytical procedure is like, chill pill. Ma'am, what is chill pill? Chill pill is like 5 lakh tha, 6 lakh tha. Ma'am, I'll compare. Will I only compare? I will do, ma'am, I'll just calculate the percentage as to how much, percentage it has increased, it has decreased, and I'll compare it to last year. Okay. Analytical is basically comparison. But, analytical procedure does not end with the comparison. Okay. See, there could be a direct comparison. Like, for example, ma'am, what I will do, I will compare current year with the prior year. There could be indirect comparison. Ma'am, what is indirect comparison? See, I can see what is I will try to establish a relationship. Ma'am, agar purchases badi hai, if the purchases has increased, maybe the sales would have been also increased, maybe the profit. So I'll try to build a relationship. Okay. And the another indirect comparison I can do is with the industry. Ma'am, industry mein, chalo industry chodo, because industry mainly comes with the profit. Here I am talking about purchases, right? But profit ka jab hum analyze karte, when we analyze the profit, we actually compare it with the sometimes industry as well. Okay? But purchases make more sense as to establish a relationship. Fine. Ma'am, bas analytical procedure khatam? No. Why did you do it? Why? This is the question. To see if there are any significant fluctuations. Was there any significant change? मैम, यही तो ऑब्जेक्टिव था एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर का, टू इन्वेस्टिगेट वाज देयर एनी सिग्निफिकेंट फ्लक्चुएशंस. यस मैम. आपको पता नहीं चल रहा? इंक्रीज देखो. यस, देयर इज अ सिग्निफिकेंट फ्लक्चुएशंस. प्रोसीजर खत्म? नो, स्टिल नॉट फिनिश. व्हाट इज द लास्ट पार्ट लेफ्ट? इज टू discuss with the management. So understand, analytical procedure is not that easy which it actually seems. Okay, you need to write all three things when you are mentioning analytical procedure in your paper. What is this? First of all, I need to identify what are the fluctuations that are taking place. I need to compare it with the prior year majority of times at double. Second, I need to investigate. Was that significant change? Was it that insignificant? Because in case it was insignificant, it's okay. Of course, company will grow. Of course, there will be certain fluctuations. It's okay. But what if it is huge? It is significant. Okay. Third step, if it is significant, I need to discuss with the management. I need to ask them that why was there so many purchases? क्या पता there would be personal purchases, there would be fictitious purchases. तो इतनी purchases आई क्यों? ठीक है, so I need to discuss with the management as to why this significant difference is appearing. Okay, now 90% of students will end their answer by saying investigate the differences. Dude, how are you investigating? By discussing it with the management. This is the complete answer. If you write half answer, you will get half marks only. Understood test of details and analytical procedure. I'll tell you one what is that chocolatey thing if you understood this. My chocolate is my favorite thing. Okay, I include a lot of chocolatey questions, answers in my live sessions. सिर्फ 3 लोगों को ही समझ में आया, बाकी लोग क्या सो रहे थे या सबको पहले से ही आता था या किसी ने सुना ही नहीं? मैम ये तो आता था, हम क्यों सुने? ठीक है, ओके, इफ यू से सो. ओके guys, I'll tell you now major mistake. Sorry. Now understand this very clear, very carefully. Let's say एक company है, let's say I'll take Coke. Everybody heard of Coke company? I guess सबने पी होगी. ऐसा कोई मतलब anybody from different country who haven't heard of Coke? Coke is a global brand, right? Now Coke introduced a new category which was zero fat, or maybe say zero sugar, or maybe diet Coke. I guess everybody has done it. Everybody must have drink this. सबने पिए ये? मेरी तो फेवरेट है यार. ठीक है, तो ये कंपनी ने एक डिसीजन लिया कि हम एक जीरो कोक निकालेंगे. ठीक है, सो इसके पीछे क्या हुआ होगा? इसके पीछे कुछ डेवलपमेंट एंड रिसर्च का खर्चा हुआ होगा. इसके बिना नया प्रोडक्ट आ सकता है? कैन न्यू प्रोडक्ट come in the market without research and development taking place? Can new product actually come up? Can, let's say, new AI tool has to go through the R&D? Everybody is watching Shark Tank in India. In case you are in India, you must be watching Shark Tank, or in case you are abroad, you must be watching that. They ask, how much time did you spend on the research? How much time did you spend on the development? So they say that we are developing this product since 2 years. So analyze that. That yes, every product goes through this particular stage, right? Now this is the first time that this particular category is being developed. Does Coke develop this on daily basis? No, of course not, ma'am. It comes in years, right? New category, it comes in years. So there is possibility that last year they must have not done any development, and there is no balance, there is no reference that this development took place prior year. So it all came in current year, right? Possible that the company got the idea in current year and they have started it. There's a possibility that last year they did not have the idea, right? Now, this is the main crux of this concept. That, guys, whenever question mentions that something new is happening, so how can you compare it with the PY? Will it make sense here if as an auditor I perform analytical procedure here? Of course, I will not see any R&D relating to this product in PY. Will I see any R&D expense in PY relating to the diet book? Of course not, right? So, analytical procedure does not make any sense here. So, you need to analyze, will analytical procedure make sense or not? Don't just keep on writing the substantive procedure in your answer because you have to write it. Understand it. It makes more sense when it comes to revenue, profit, purchases, sales, because you have PY balances, right? But when something significant happens in the company, let's say development of a new product, of course, there is a possibility that PY balances will not appear, right? Did you understand what I am trying to explain here? That when analytical procedure will make sense and when it will not make sense. In case, if this particular scenario, you write it in exam that auditor should perform analytical procedure and analyze the difference, okay? Analyze the difference and investigate and discuss it with the management. No, you will be getting 0 because case did not give you any information about PY that actually this exists or not. Okay? Pranav, what did you not understand? Like I would, मतलब ठीक से क्या नहीं समझ में आया? कौन सा पार्ट नहीं समझ में आया? ठीक है, till then he writes, या देखो, this is something significant which is happening in current year. ठीक है, let's say you have Coke idea in 2013. Okay, so of course you will not have incur any expenses in 2012 because you did not even have that idea, right? So everything that you spend will be shown in current year only, right? There will be no PY balances for that particular expenditure, for that particular idea. So how will you compare it with the PY in case there is no balance? Okay. So this was just to explain the relevance as to when the analytical procedure is relevant and you can write it and when you cannot write it. Okay. Guys, I am not explaining this as of now. Just understand what I'm explaining. Do not come up with something else question. Okay. Something out of box. Okay. Now, everybody understood the meaning of test of detail and analytical procedure. Any confusion now? Because I am starting with now next part of this particular lecture. Now, let me see if substantive procedure I have explained, analytical procedure explained, test of details explained. Okay. Now let's come to the second part of this particular lecture where we will be diving into how to improve your answer. Anybody who still have doubt how to write answer? Again, ma'am, whenever there's a procedure, whenever there is, anything related to this, you only have 3 words to say. What are they? What are they? Purpose, documentation, information, and procedure. So this will make up your substantive procedure. Okay. So another way of saying, just like Sayyam mentioned, being super smart. Okay. How will you do it? Why will you do it? And oh, sorry. हाँ तो यही तो था या तुम मेरे को कंफ्यूज क्यों कर रहे हो? ठीक है, हाँ. How will you do it? What you will do it? And why will you do it? Understand. Now, the first step to write the answer, always. I am using word always. Always start your answer. Action. Always start your procedure with an action. Okay, action is nothing but the procedure. What actions can I write, guys, quickly? Review, inspect, compare, obtain, observe. So everybody knows procedure, right? So if every time you need to start your answer with the action. Fine. Then comes the document, information, which is answering what? Let's say you write discuss with management. What needs to be discussed? Discuss the reasonableness, discuss the assumptions. Okay? Sorry, discuss the assumptions, or you can say development key ideas. Okay, it has to be not necessarily with the management. It can be with the lawyer. It can be with finance director. It can be with anybody. So discuss with the management what. So what is nothing but the document information. And the last, why. This 90% of students don't write. I don't know why. But after attending this 3 days live session, I am sure I have pointed out this so many times that nobody of you will actually, none of you will actually forget this. कोई भूलेगा क्या इसके बाद भी? मतलब 100 रिमाइंडर्स देने के बाद भी भूलेगा क्या? लिख के आओगे ना वाई? प्लीज प्रॉमिस करो ना मुझे वाई लिख कर आओगे. So you need to write the why, right? Why? Now I'll just add, I'll just take your good. Promise. See, promises. Your promise came when I asked you the meaning of assertion. Okay. Now promise shouldn't come there. Only claims word should be there. Now, I'll start with the procedure and you need to end it. Okay. Now, there's a case in the company. Let's say workers have, uh, raised an issue. ठीक है, उन्होंने हमारे ऊपर केस कर दिया. So I will discuss with the lawyer dash to ensure the amount of claims. What I will discuss with the lawyer. I have discussed the action that yes, I will discuss why I have told you that in order to assure the amount about certainty of winning the case, possibility of winning the case. Yeah. Likelihood is a better word, right? So I will discuss that, what is the probability of this particular output, probability of this case, that whether the company will win the case or lose the case. So what is the likelihood of that, right? So you know what needs to be written, right? Now I need to discuss with the management about the development that is taking place. So discuss with the management dash to confirm the discuss with the management. या मैं क्या बोलूं? है criteria met complete तो करना मुझे. Discuss with the management about the feasibility study to dash. Why will I do this? Discuss with the management about the feasibility study to ensure dash. Reasonableness exists. See, I am actually looking at the feasibility. Why do I look at the feasibility? Because there's a possibility, because feasibility is the criteria to capitalize the expenditure, right? In case the idea is not feasible and it will go to the research, right? So I need to see the capitalize is done into one IS 38 accordance or not, right? So I may discuss with the whether they have classified into research and development depending upon the technique feasibility studies, right? Understood, guys? But you guys will write it, right? So this is the correct way to write the procedure, to write the complete procedure, which is procedure, document information and purpose. And there are other words that you can use to say the same thing again and again. Now, let's discuss examiner's report. I'll show you, I'll tell you examiner report 90% of you will not study. Ma'am, why? Because it is too long, ma'am. It is too boring. We think it is time waste and it has so many repetitive information. Is it true? Tell me in the comment message section how many of you have even read one examiner report. I am sure 99% of you must have not read even one. Anybody who has read three read really? Oh my god. Guys, I'll be very honest. When I was a double A student, I didn't read examiner's report. But now as a teacher, I have actually understood the meaning of examiner's report and how to read it. Right? So we'll quickly read only three. Okay. Okay. So Ruchi has read only December 2023 report. So I'll not cover that. That's a good part for you. We'll cover other things. Okay. Oh, wait, I'll just quickly share examiner report one by one and then we can just, analyze what they have to say. Now let's start with, I guess we'll start with June 2022, then we'll cover December 22 and then finally March 23. Okay. We'll not go beyond that. December 23, I believe, in case you guys read it, you must have done that. Guys, everybody is able to see my screen. Okay. I'll just quickly, first of all, let's go to page number 12. I have written, okay. Guys, see how to read, examiner's report. Let me tell you, 60% of examiner's report will be repeated. Okay, matlab it will say few things repetitively in each examiner report, but there are few things that will be very unique that needs to be paid attention. Okay, so we will be focusing on that. Why, ma'am? Because examiner gets very irritated if you do same mistakes. Like examiner be like, dude, I told you in my report, why are you doing this mistake? So this particular section of the session is just to make sure that you don't do those same mistake. I always discuss common mistakes done by the student. I did it in 2 sessions. How many of you think that was actually helpful? Guys, it is actually very helpful because you make sure that you don't make the same mistake, right? Now, let's understand what, see, after this session, you don't have to open these three reports. Trust me, do not even see it. Okay, do not even see it. I have covered it for the substantive procedure part. Do not repeat, do not go and read it again. मैम ने बताया था तो एक बार फिर से रिवाइज कर लेता हूँ. No, don't do that. Okay, save your time, focus on questions. Now, this is the first category of question where substantive procedures are asked for directly for the trade receivables. Okay, everybody knows 1 mark is given per valid point. Now, understand that what it needs to say. That please do not write any vague or any brief answer. For example, discuss with the management. Very vague. What are you discussing? Why are you discussing? So do not write it too brief. Ma'am, we did not have time. The time management was the issue and we tried to write it in short. No, guys. There is no shortcut to getting 1 mark. Okay. It should be detailed. It should mention document. So the main focus of this whole para is that you need to mention the document. This should not be very brief and this should not be very vague. Understood? By the I have included specifically that you need to mention why. Okay, so if you follow these three things, that is procedure, document, information and purpose, this will never be an issue for you. Okay, so this will not fill that criteria. Now, everybody needs to be attentive to understand what is the difference between substantive procedure and test of control. Ma'am, you told same things for the test of control and you told same thing for the risk and you told same thing for the substantive procedure, right? But how can you distinguish? Why? Because there I am thinking from the entity's perspective, right? I told you, right? that finance director, see, when it comes to the test of control, let's say we actually suggest as to, whether the finance director is reviewing the list of that payroll or not, payroll list in totals, right? That we discussed yesterday. For substantive procedure, I am considering financial statement. I am considering assertion here. Did I discuss anything about materiality here? Did I discuss anything about financial statements here? No, right? So here I am more concerned about the financial statements. I am more concerned about the assertions. I'm more concerned about that, right? But test of control, I am thinking from management's perspective. I did not discuss about the materiality over there, right? So substantive procedure is to gather the evidence, is to gather the sufficient appropriate evidence for to test the assertions level in FS. But when it comes to the test of control, I am checking the effectiveness of the control, whether the control is being effective in the organization or not. Understood? The difference needs to be clear. मैम ने ये बोला था कि सब प्रोसीजर डॉक्यूमेंट एंड पर्पस लिखो टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल में भी और उसमें भी गाइस बोला था दैट वाज जस्ट अ वे टू फ्रेम आंसर ओके दिस वाज नॉट कि दोनों सेम लिखने हैं ठीक है थिंक why are we doing that why did we do test of control why did we do substantive procedure this will only be clear if you know the crux if you know the meaning okay see in substantive procedure this is something that I have already told you that analytical procedure does not make sense when it is one of type expenditure right so abhi maine jo pura analytical expenditure analytical procedure समझाया था कोक का that was just to explain you that when it comes to one of type that actually exists for the first time it is unlikely to be useful. Understood this point? Does this point make more relevance after my example? Or does it mean same to you now as well? Ma'am, we knew this point. Shut up. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना? So, Pranav, I just explained the Coke example, right? So there I told you, no, if something is one of, that is, that idea was being implemented for the first time. So PY balances will unlikely to be there, right? Okay, now again, half marks if you write it half answer, half marks if you write it full, that it needs to be discussed and investigated. Okay, so this point I have already explained. Now, when gathering substantive, when generating substantive procedure for TR or TP, it is imperative that the focus of test is on SOFP. Guys, see, if let's say the question tells you TR substantive procedure लिखो, will you focus on SOFP or will you focus on SOPL? TR is the item of SOFP. Any doubts about it? No, right? So of course our procedures should revolve around it. Why are we including this in our procedure? Why are we talking about revenue? Why are we talking about the purchases? Okay, so the main focus of the test is on the SOPL. Fine. See, if you write recalculate the total sales invoice, these are the substantive procedures of sales and you will not get any credit for it. Fine. How many of you are with me? Like how many of you can now understand these three mistakes? What were the three mistakes that was highlighted by the examiner? First, analytical procedure. I do not need to divert it to the P&L if the assertion, if the topic is talking about SOFP. And finally, I need to be very clear what is substantive procedure and what is TOC. Understood, guys? Only one or two people are, replying. Everything, everybody is sleeping or... These three mistakes should not be done by you now because I have actually told you each and every mistake that examiner has pointed out. So this does not make sense that you go again tomorrow and you make same mistakes, right? Again, it would be very useless if you do that, right? Can I move ahead? Can I move to the second part of this examiner report? Or okay. Guys, very less participation today. I will be gone after this session now. You will not see my face tomorrow. Okay, so today is last day that you need to tolerate me by choice or by compulsion. I don't know. But yeah. See, now let's come to the second part of this particular report where the substantive procedure for revenue is asked. Now, if I talk about the last three mistakes that I have discussed, will it be, my procedure will be a rounding SOPL or SOFP? It will be a rounding SOPL, right? Because revenue is the P&L item, right? So now, here the examiner is trying to say that you need to make your procedure case specific. This is very important, especially when it comes to 2000 papers, because maximum number of papers are getting nullified nowadays because you are writing general answers and it is examiners think that it has been copied. Okay, so how to prevent yourself from getting nullified is to make it case specific, right? So case specific is certain thing that you need to pay attention to. Fine. See, candidates should have then focused on this, consider substantive procedure. If you would have read these information in the case, you would have mentioned this particular procedure. Now, guys, this is very important. See, as I told you, analytical procedures are very useful when you are auditing revenue because revenue will appear year on year, right? So analytical procedures make sense in the revenue, right? Understood this point why I actually told you the whole story about analytical procedure? This was the reason because examiner reports has clearly highlighted how you guys are making mistake in the analytical procedure. Now, again, same thing. If your procedures are surrounding SOFP, that is receivables, you will not get any credit. Okay. Now, again, vague answer, perform cutoff testing. Why? Which document? Which test? What is the actual text? What will be the documents that you will be using? So, again, if you write vague answer, no marks given. Okay. Again, see, this I wanted to highlight again before and during the inventory count. Will I get marks if I write procedure for after the inventory count? If somebody has not read the question carefully and they keep on writing inventory procedures after the inventory count, guys, you will not get any marks. Please pay attention to this, okay? Now, this is very important, thing that I wanted to highlight here. And that's why I have double highlighted. Understand this. This may require a little bit more efforts from your end to understand. See, there what the case said that company has increased the price as per the inflation. Let's say 10% inflation hai, and 10% company ne price increase kiya. Okay. Now, what students wrote that whether this particular, increase was authorized or not. Okay. And they were actually reviewing board minutes, whether the authorization was taken for this price increase or not. These are not substantive procedure and will not gain any credit. Can somebody tell me why? Ma'am, why? Because price increase हो रहे हैं तो बोर्ड से अप्रूवल लेना तो ठीक है ना? See, understand this. Inflationary price increases has been appropriately applied and whether this was reasonable benchmark for increasing price. This is not a concern of the auditor but the management. So you would have not gained the credit. Okay, this is not the concern of the auditor as to how much you have increased price. If the inflation was 10%, The prices were increased only by 10%. Is it my concern? No. Dude, if you want to increase by 5%, do it. This is not my concern. This is management concern. Should I be concerned as to how much increase, 10%, 5%? I need to see whether this has been reflected in FS or not. Right? So, as to whether this was correct benchmark, whether the 10% percentage was correct or not, should the company would have increased by, 8% or maybe 11%, this is not my concern. This is management concern. Okay. So please understand what is management concern and what is your concern as an auditor. Fine. Guys, understood? Can I move on to the next report? Understood or not? Was it helpful or not? Or was it just, ma'am, waste of time? Okay. Now let's move on to the December 2022 report, and I have just one point to highlight here. Just one point. Understand. I told you this category in the introduction describes substantive analytical procedure. So this was the, this is where I got the idea as to how the questions are appearing in the paper. Okay. So this, if you mention test of detail, will you get any marks here? You will not get any marks here. Okay. So this is just a proof that I was not saying anything, out of my context, but out of box, but everything is see. Detail that is casting, agreeing, no credits will be given because this was not the question requirement. Okay. So this was the only point that I wanted to highlight in this particular thing. Now let's move on to the last report, which is 20. See, did I tell you specifically the question told me that additions, the substantive procedure should be according to the additions of PP. Will I get if I actually see the totals? Will I see if I see the disposals? Will I get marks if I write the procedures account depreciation? No. Right. So only thing that you need to focus here is the additions of the company. Okay. As a requirement was only for the addition, then the general PP would not give you any sort of marks over here. Guys, see one more proof where I was telling you analytical procedure does not make sense. See, obtain written. Okay. If this addition is done in 2000 X4, will this balance appear in 2013? Come on. Comparison against the prior year for the addition does not make sense here. Okay, because this is the addition that is done in the current year. Guys, there is one more very important thing. Every one of you, right, obtain written presentation from the management. I guess everybody must write this, everybody must have written this, obtain written presentation from the management. सबने लिखा हुआ है. कहीं ना कहीं प्रोसीजर में ये सब घुसाते ही हो तुम लोग कि written obtain. Do you know the real purpose as to when you should obtain this particular point? See, every time you mention will not give you marks. This is the reason. Ma'am, 6 marks ka tha, we wrote 6 point. I wrote 6 point and I should get 6 out of 6. Guys, you will not get this particular marks if you do not write it for management judgment. Okay. Written presentations are obtained when there's a judgment being involved, when there's management judgment. Okay. So please understand this point. Obtain written presentation, requesting written representation should be restricted to areas jahan pe auditor is relying on management judgment or little evidence available. Okay. So I need to obtain written presentation in 2 areas where I am relying on the management judgments or where I have little evidences available. Okay. See, when it comes to the provision, of course, the management is applying judgment, right? कि कितना provision बनना चाहिए, how much should be the provision, whether this will be. So the judgment areas. Okay. In addition, do you think there is any judgment? No. मशीन इतने की आई, मशीन इतने की रिकॉर्ड हुई, इसमें क्या जजमेंट लगाना है? इसमें भी जजमेंट लगाओगे? No, there's no judgment. Okay. In addition, some of these procedures would not gain marks at the test of control. Rather, this was useless. ठीक है? But ये point समझ में आया? Did you guys understand this point? Okay. So this was, the one thing that I wanted to highlight. And the next is bank balance. See, again, should we write one extra point? If you have time. Time is the major concern in audit paper. And in case you have time, write it down. In case you don't have time, don't write it down. Okay. So this would be a homework. I don't think there's any important point. Just go and check out this in case it has any new point that should be mentioned. So you can just go it. Okay. Wait. Why my Zoom is hanging? इतना hang क्यों रहा है? Guys, everybody understood? Everybody is getting what I am trying to say. I'll just give you 5 minutes break now. I'll pause the recording. Okay. So now after 5 minutes break, I believe we have covered the substantial portion of this particular lecture where we have covered majority of things, and I have summed up few mistakes that I discussed in the lecture, and I have mentioned the heading under common mistakes. Guys, it is advisable that you actually watch this recording once again for the examiner's report, and you can just mention the points after these fifth point. Okay, so that whenever you are revising in the exam center or before that, you have all these points listed out for yourself as well. And sometimes my common mistake may not be mistakes for yours, so you can just cut it out that, dude, I know this, I'll be okay with this. Okay, now let's move on to the question. Everybody remember that we solved this particular question on the first day. What was the thing that I highlighted most in the first para? Anybody who remembers it? Like literally I gave 10 minutes of attention that this needs to be paid attention to. Yeah. Date and material amount. Okay. Now let's read it for the perspective of this. So this has 6 marker, which says that substantive procedure that auditor needs to perform in relation to the development expenditure. Guys, I'll tell you the best approach. What you can do for the D part, just say which para I need to use. Just copy paste on your Word art. Okay, just copy paste and see, will I be using first para for my procedures? Because it talks about the new accounting system. So obviously I will not be using this para, right? The third para talks about the inventories, right? So I'll not be using this para. So I'll only use this para in order to make my procedures correct or wrong. Right? Everybody agrees that this procedure, this para will be used in order to make all 6 procedures, right? 6 marks, 6 procedures. Okay. Now understand, ma'am, I need to make 6 procedure. I need to see which information can I use. How can I use this particular para? Okay. Now understand. First of all, Peach Company has been developing a new production process. So first thing that I see is some new development is taking place. This is the first part. Now, what development? That it will help to reduce the sugar by 50%. Development commenced and the total amount was this. So second thing that I can notice is 0.8 million, right? The third, on 1st May, the approval. The Food Safety Authority approved. And the fourth thing that I can see is, ma'am, dates. Anything else that you think is important in this para? So I have broken the para into certain parts. Do you analyze this? Everybody analyzed as to how I used one para to break the information, right? Now, if you guys remember, on the very first day, this was also the risk, right? Where we actually mentioned about IS 38. Guys, do you remember? We also mentioned the risk from this particular para. I am not seeing any answers. Okay, so a good procedure is something which will address the risk as well. Now let's talk about, see, now I have 4 things to write 6 procedure. Is it sounding simpler now? Because I have 4 things to mention 6 procedure instead of looking like 1 para 6 procedure. Now I have 4 things for the 6 procedure. Even if I write 4 things like 1 point each, I will at least score 4 marks out of 6, right? So I need to be smart here. Now, so try to break the para. First part is, it is developing a new production process. Okay. Now, this is something that is done major in the organization, right? Just like an example of 0% sugar, is it happening on the daily basis? Is it happening on regular basis? Like every day, board comes up, every day they decide that we'll develop something new. We'll do it. We'll, conduct it. We'll have this research development. No, this is something that is happening major in the organization. What major is happening, ma'am? They are trying to develop a drink which will reduce it by 50%. Why are they doing it? Do you think only lower management will be involved in this? That they have, decided, seniors have decided that, okay, let's do it. There must be board, there must be lot of planning being involved, right? So something major comes up, right? So there must be board being involved. So I can think from that perspective that did I get the approval? So approval is something that I am looking for from the board in order to start this development. Understood? So I can make a procedure regarding the board minutes. I will inspect board minutes. Why? And now to make it more case specific, I auditor, inspect board minutes of Peach Company. Guys, complete. Inspect board minutes of Peach Company to ensure वाई बोर्ड मिनट्स में क्या डिस्कस हुआ होगा approval. Okay, first of all, you will look for the approval. Okay, whether the board has actually approved such thing or not, right? Second, what is the business rationale? Why the company has decided to think there must be certain reason. What reason can be, ma'am? There must be a customer demand. There must be a pressure from competitors, right? So you can think 2 things. What? First of all, approval. And second, you will see what was the business rationale behind this decision. Understood? Intended use का क्या? Rational, मतलब rational as in why did they take this particular decision, right? There must be certain reason, no? Or they were just partying in the Sundays and they decided on Monday that we'll develop. No, this doesn't happen, right? There must be certain reason as to why that decision was taken, right? So first of all, you can see, I am not discussing about the reason, certain reason isn't the management concern. No, I am discussing the business rationale. I need to understand as an auditor why they took that. Okay, the rationale is important. Do you not use the word rationale when it comes to assumptions? Like any assumptions that a management takes, we say now that as an auditor, we need to discuss the rationale behind it, right? I am not yeah. Now, second, whenever the a new development takes place, do you think it will be conducted without research, without study, feasibility study, technical, your technical feasibility, financial feasibility? The feasibility study is very important. For example, when Coke introduced, this particular thing, zero diet, they must have done certain research, they must have conducted certain market reports, they must have done certain surveys, right? Or they did it just key, let's try, hit and trial. No, there has to be a study, there has to be a report. Everybody agree with me? Yeah, financial feasibility is better word to use it. Money is available to complete it. Right. So feasibility study. So what we can review? There's a document involved. What document do I have? The research report. What action I can take? Review. Review feasibility staff or feasibility study, or the better word, research report. Why? Why will I actually review it? Why? Intention. Okay. So whether this was actually, undertaken prior to the commencement, right? To confirm that there's a technical feasibility, right? So feasibility study, I need to see the IS 38 and I'll see everything else. But accordance with IS 38, because feasibility is the criteria that will decide the capitalization and expenditure, right? Yeah. So I will review this particular feasibility or research report, that it was undertaken prior to the commencement of development, and I will confirm that this company is technical viable or not. Understood? So I have developed two procedures around this. Now let's come to the 0.8 million. Now I need to see the breakup of 0.8 million. I need to see, does it include any research or does it include only the capital? Because company has capitalized, right? So now what I will do, I will review the breakup. Why will I see it? Just said, to confirm that it does not include any research development, research cost in it. Okay. Split, break up, break down, anything. Okay. Guys, are you understanding how the division of the para can actually help you to develop the substantive procedures? Okay. Now, confirm and ensure, yeah, it's kind of same. Now, let's come to the third category. Let's come to the third, which is date. What will be impacted by the date? What do you think? Why dates were important? Come on. Amortization. So I will recalculate the amortization in order to ensure the accuracy. How will I make it more case specific? By mentioning the dates. Okay. So just mentioning that recalculate the amortization to, ensure the accuracy. No. I will mention कितने डेट से कब तक मुझे amortization लगाना था. So I will mention the dates in my answer and it will make my answer more case specific. Done. तो अभी तक हमारे कितने प्रोसीजर हो गए? 4 हो गए. Now the fifth comes the approval. That is the food safety. Ma'am, dates can be used for cut off also. Cut off की बात कहाँ की मैंने अभी? मैं तो amortization की बात कर रही हूँ ना. I am talking about amortization here. Do not, Okay. Now the approval. What do you think the document I will have for the approval? The food safety authority is approving. I'm not talking about the board approval. I have talked about that in the board minutes. I am talking about this food safety authority approval. Now I don't know the supporting document, ma'am. What is the best way if I don't know the supporting document? Review the correspondence from the food authority. Okay? Why? To confirm the approval. Okay? Whether they can actually manufacture those products, whether the manufacture rights were actually, whether the manufacture permission was granted to the peach company or not. So here, what I can review? I can review Ma'am, I need to review the supporting documents. The better word is correspondence or the supporting documents you can mention from where it has to be from. It has to be from the Food Safe Authority. Done. Purpose, ma'am, to confirm the approval. Okay? Ki whether the permission for the manufacturer was granted to the peach company or not. What if there was no permission being granted and they started it? Okay? So that may be the case, right? Guys, did you understand? Did it make it better or did it confuse you? Let's be honest. Okay. So this is how you can actually, understand the procedures, and this is how you can solve the questions in a much better manner. Okay. So that was it for this particular lecture. We'll just talk and have a Q&A session, but let me just stop the recordings. So all those who are watching this recording, thank you so much guys for watching this. And finally logging off, Ruchi Goyal, ACCA from Elance. Thank you guys for watching.